Hello, happy Tuesday. Welcome to an episode of Old Reader, New Reader. We have a couple of guests. First, Omnidog himself. I love the mask every time. It's so good.
Thank you for inviting me, Maddie.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I'll be asking you a lot this year, so I hope you're ready.
Good, I am. Yeah, I appreciate it.
The return of Freddie, and this fun bit because just how Freddie and I've known each other, and we met virtually first time last week. Now first for Freddie and Jess. So I'm excited.
The return of Freddie.
The return.
The return.
And Freddie has a name now on here because everybody has to have some YouTube name, right?
What's the genesis of non-canon Freddie?
I don't know, Jess. It just sounded fun in my head.
Oh, okay. Good. Whatever.
So I brought you all here today.
Yes.
To talk about Tinian's Something is Killing the Children, which I've been told to read forever. I think by both of you, probably. Because this was on my nightstand for a long time. I did spill some drink on it, and I only just read it today.
What kind of drink?
I don't remember.
It's a blur.
I feel like it was probably amaretto. I love it. I like sweet drinks. But it's okay. It's still it's holding up. It just looks a little shiny at the top.
What volume is that?
Volume
That's
one?
The first one. You probably have this one, right?
I do have this one, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because
Boom does a variant one, or
because Boom does these for the first volumes. They do the Discover Now edition.
Oh.
So it's like a variant that comes out first on comic book stores and then the regular one.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, I like both those covers, so I'm glad that we have different ones. So this was a Patreon vote. I know a few people were confused in the chat because it was between this and something else, and then Wonder Woman Dead Earth, and it was really, really close. And this won out, which is good because Freddie hasn't gotten his copy of Wonder Woman Dead Earth yet, so this was the most accessible.
Freddie, where are you based, may I ask?
That's A-OK. I'm in Puerto Rico, just like Gio.
Ah, okay. Good.
Except, he's very far away, so.
Which is too bad, because it'd be great if you could connect.
He's near the beach, I know that.
There's a lot of beach, yes.
Sounds like it's all beach.
That's the best answer.
An island.
Chris, well, I read volumes 1 and 2. I know that Freddie has as well. Jess, have you read volumes 1 and 2?
Yep.
Oh, then we'll be talking about volumes 1 and 2. It worked out.
Right on, man.
So, I don't know the best way to quickly summarize this except for these monsters. Think Monsters Inc., but way deadlier. These shadowless monsters are killing children. And the problem is that only children can see them because they believe in monsters. So that description of it makes it sound very kid-friendly. It is not. It's very grotesque. A lot of body horror in this. But basically, the story kind of revolves around a few main characters. One is this young boy who sees his friends get killed by this monster and is traumatized, and also people think he killed them, and a mix of things. And this really badass girl shows up and is there to fight these monsters. That's the quick and dirty of it, really. Mm-hmm. They're trying to figure out how to kill these monsters. The monsters are killing children. That's it. But it is much more deeper than I am telling you all at home. But again, this is only volume 1 and 2, so we currently aren't even close to really having everything resolved. But that's not a problem because there's a lot to dig in here, and it's still really exciting. So that's a quick summary, and we can talk about it. First of all, this art and the layouts, I love. Mm-hmm. And I love that this is such an international team. it always makes me really excited to see that because, these three that work on this book, oh gosh, these pages are together. Because we have Tinian, who's here. We have Werther Deladera, who's Italian, and Miquel Muerto, who's in Barcelona. So, like, they're all over, which is really, really cool. And I think, like, what a dream team, because this is absolutely beautiful. And I don't want to trigger, I guess, warning for everybody. This is kind of gross. Some stuff is gross, but, like, the color usage and the way that the coolness and, like, the blood out here is so cool. And just the layout of all of these, I really, really like. I guess let's get into it. What did you guys think? Any favorite scenes or?
Well, I just flipped through most of it because I did not have time to reread it, and I forgot how pretty it is. Like, wow. And it really does, like, consistently look very pretty throughout both volumes. Some rando page here with James, stupid mirroring, with James over here. He's the kid that survived, and then Erica Slaughter. Like, what a badass name.
Oh, absolutely. Where is it? Chris Brogan said Doppelganger Buffy hunts Doppelganger gingerbread kids. And yeah, I agree. It's a very Buffy-esque thing. So you've got a young, blonde badass who has, like, only one eye showing and a ton of eye makeup. And she's so cool.
Very cool.
Those have big eyes that she puts emphasis on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost very Naruto-esque, like when they have I forget the names because I have not seen or read that in about a decade. Dead air.
I love this scene in particular in the first book where she says, "There's monsters in the woods and I'm going to kill them." And there's a beat and he says, "Can I help?"
Oh, so, absolutely.
Yeah. To me, that was like, it's going to be super adventurous and this kid's all in. He feels guilty. I don't know how much we want to spoil it.
We can spoil it. It's a spoiler show. It's fine. But okay. let's dig into it.
Well, right. Not only that, but she has a puppet that sort of talks to her sometimes, but the puppet goes silent and abandons her, and she's pissed. And we haven't really even touched in the first two books much on the little puppet that talks to her. And there's a lot more to be examined with this the spirit that inhabits the puppet.
Yeah, so let's talk about Miss Slaughter for a second. One, she's really cool, but she's definitely got a lot of extra layers because, at first you're like, okay, she's just some badass hunter that rolls into town, kills these monsters and leaves, because she doesn't seem very, like, friendly, like she's really there to make a connection at all. But you start to see that, she's one of many of her type of these hunters, and unlike the rest of her hunters, she's had an experience very similar to the young boy that we also follow in this story, where she was just like him once and saw these monsters kill and rip apart people that she loved. And it just so happened that she ended up being, picked up and trained to fight the same. But unlike the people she came from, she's much more caring and really cares about these children and wants to help them over just making sure people don't know about it. Which is great seeing her connect with this kid.
She seems to have gone rogue from the organization that is full of monster hunters, and that's another topic, or that's another part of the story that needs to be. I can see this going 4 or 5 volumes, because not only do we have to find out more about the ghost and Erica, but we need to find out more about the monster hunting group. Doesn't necessarily seem to be in this for the good of all people. They seem to have their own agenda.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what it is. They're not completely transparent at this point. I'm grasping for the word I want, and I not have good
That's fine.
words right now, but they don't. They're not what they seem.
Yeah, because it seems like we have very limited knowledge. We know that there's like a family group, right? It looks like this is like a long-standing tradition of the Savages, and that our girl was adopted into this, so she's not part of this lineage. And we know they kind of have some rules in place. So this could have been going for like hundreds and hundreds of years, very similar to like secret societies, right? That we've seen other kind of vampire lore, right? Of like vampire hunters, that kind of deal. And we also know that they're able to trap these monsters that they capture too. Because not only are they killing them, but we know that her little octopus plush why would they do this? They trapped the monster that killed her entire family and put it into this octopus like toy that she's got to carry around.
And they become like pseudo friends of some sort. Like,
yeah, I guess because you just have to. You don't really have a choice.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I do want to talk about the boy as well. I keep forgetting his name. I'm so bad with names. James, thank you. This is another character I really appreciate. I feel like this is part of Tinian, because Tinian's a queer, comics creator. He's like out now. And he does show that kind of diversity in his work now, which I think is really cool. He doesn't have to. It doesn't change anything in the story, but it makes you relate to this kid more because he's extra invested, because he's a young queer kid. He has a crush on one of his friends, and one of those friends is the one that dies that day. So he has an extra attachment, because not only does he feel so much survivor's guilt because he dared them to go into the forest after coming up with this monster story that ended up being true, but also, it was somebody he cared about. So he's guilty, and people think he did it. And so he's got nothing.
And
right?
he's queer, so there's that baggage too, because he stands out differently from everybody else.
People knew that.
Yeah, they think he's a queer kid killer.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, so he didn't want to kiss you, so you killed him.
Yeah.
He's like, thanks, guys. This was traumatic enough to watch all of my friends get literally ripped apart by a monster that only I could see.
Mm-hmm.
After telling them that there was a monster, because I made it up, in the forest. I would feel so bad. I'm like, yeah, guys, there's a monster in the forest. I dare you to go check it out. And they actually get ripped to shreds.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. And that's doubling, obviously.
and Erica's very good at kind of manipulating the kid into joining her, and you don't really notice that's her intention at first, but in volume 2, like they give you like, oh, she has a history of doing this, and you don't even really think about it when you see it on the first issue where she is carrying around a little kid, and it's to use her as bait essentially.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I didn't even think about that after reading it, actually, because I read that part and then just forgot about it.
Just about that little girl. I had a dentist named Dr. Slaughter.
That's so cool and terrifying.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, Slaughter. I kept calling her Savage. Slaughter. Yeah. That was my bad.
That was my way of getting you back on the Slaughter track.
Thank you.
No, it wasn't.
It was a good anecdote.
Yeah, Dr. Slaughter.
But yeah, like they, even that there's a way we learn that like kids are the ones that can see these guys, these monsters, because they believe in them, which feels very like Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, like fairies. I do believe in fairies, I do, but it's monsters.
And then that athlete non-believer can see after he gets
right.
attacked.
So we see her do something to him and like stab him with something, and now he can see. So that something similar must have happened with her also, which she was not supposed to do. And so the organization's like, no, we've already decided picking up stragglers does not work for us. Right? We can't let anybody else do that again. So that's already a problem. And I love that character too, because he's just looking for his sister. and he goes to attack Miss Savage.
Slaughter.
Slaughter. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna keep doing this. Oh, this is the
Let's
worst.
change it to Savage.
And I forgot his name. Tommy. Okay. Tommy, is it? Yeah.
It looked like you had her bandana on when you had
Right.
like this.
That's cool. I didn't realize it did that.
The bandana is bossed
It is so bad.
across the face.
Yeah, this one, I mean, like, people have been talking about this book.
It's really popular. This is like
Yeah.
one of Boom's really big hits, and I know that they've been putting out a lot of variant covers with Jenny Frison art and other stuff.
Beautiful.
And I know that's besides being a really good story, it's got variant hunters out for the different covers too.
Yeah, like, man, there's so many good ones in the back of this.
Yeah, and on volume 2, you have more Jenny Frison.
I mean, that's my girl. That's my number one.
This is full Buffy.
Oh, yeah.
I am a loser. I have no knowledge of any Buffy, and I feel like, first of all, I'm not going to collect the books because they're all impossible to get. But
Yeah, it's too late for you.
I should watch the show because it sounds like my kind of show.
Oh, you would love it.
Yeah, but
No
there's the new Boom series.
Yeah, that's
They're
true.
coming out for an oversized hardcover
Of new Buffy?
of the new Buffy. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like High School is Hell or something. I've got it pre-ordered. I have them all pre-ordered.
I should.
But this does feel kind of Buffy-esque. I think, you know, Tinian, I mean, a lot of people know Tinian because of Batman. But I think Tinian really shows a lot of talent for writing horror books like this. Like horror books that are unique. Because, you know, I've also read All of the Woods. And I love that. And that's also kind of like a horror series that has a bit of a mystery to it. It involves a younger, not audience, but younger people, focuses around younger people. And then their own personal issues while dealing with these huge, impossible situations. And both of those, I think, like really set the tone very well. And a lot of that's due to the artist and the colorist, really, because, you know, Tinian did a great job, but the layout for this, I loved. And it got me confused sometimes because some of the 2-page layouts, I wasn't sure where to read.
Right, and it does that suddenly. You don't even notice. Like some artists are very good at like letting you know, like, oh, suddenly you're gonna read this one like this, and then no, this one is like you're like, this dialogue is very wonky.
Like right here.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though I'm showing some
it's okay.
naked butt, but this is a perfect example of where you read down and you go, oh wait, I'm supposed to read across.
Oh yeah, I had to reread a few different pages because I would just get really confused. But then once I did, I was like, oh, this is a cool layout though. And so I wasn't mad about it. Some of these I'd be like, okay, I'm done. Because it is abrupt. You're like, God, wait, where am I? But when I would go back and reread it, I'm like, no, but actually I like the way this looks and flows. And I can't even describe why, but I feel like the disjointed of it fits the story. I think the artwork definitely fits it because, you know, you've got this, speaking of her like big eye, like, I like that her features are exaggerated in here because I think it really does make her seem like otherworldly and special. Yeah. And this is a great little splash page of the monster as well, ripping at this kid.
Yeah.
Because they're not typical monsters, and you never really get a clear look at them.
But
which I also like.
You can see it right there, and I like that they didn't make them invisible for a long time. Brought them right out.
Like, it's a good mix, right? Because, you know, even though we never get a completely clear view of exactly how they look, we still get to see the shapes. They give you just enough to make you scared and be like, okay, I don't really know what's happening or how this is happening, which I like.
It's a little Jaws-esque that way. It makes you more terrified of your image of the monster than how the monster actually looks.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. And I love when artists and colorists can really pull off like a night scene well. Yeah. Because I you know, some artists, and I felt this way about War, Wind, Dead, Earth. When I was reading that last week, but some artists, they do like a darker scene, they do it more devoid of color, but that's not what happens here at all throughout this book. Like, it's such a great balance because the colors you can see are still very vibrant and brilliant, but still set the scene for you very well. It still feels eerie. It still feels cold, and in great contrast to the blood, of course.
Well, right. I think it sets up tension that you really can feel viscerally, which some books try to be scary and don't really pull it off. But this one, I think one of the reasons it's popular is because it feels visceral. Like all the monsters are not only killing the kids in the woods, but now they're starting to enter the town, and it just feels really real to the reader.
Yeah, like I like that they give us so much pieces already, because already we know a lot, and yet we still have so many questions. Like we knew about the monster, but now we know that it's a mother monster, and there's little baby monsters. And the more that they eat, the bigger that they get, and how terrifying that is. And some of them, the mother eats live children, the babies eat dead children. You're like, ooh, and you can't kill them unless they're in the process or have just eaten a kid, because they're not tangible.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it's right.
And it goes even further with the babies. The babies, you can't touch them until they start maturing.
Yeah. Like,
meanwhile, they're multiplying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so the mother aspect really reminded me of Alien, but it was a hell lot more terrifying. Like, and this feels like a completely different book at night than at day. Like when I was skimming through it in the morning, I was like, "Oh, this is like really pretty." And then when I'm looking through it again, I'm like, "Yeah, this is very dark."
Yeah, I agree with Jaden. I like that the mystery aspect doesn't drag on.
No.
Absolutely, because I think that just shows how good of a writer he is, to give us so many pieces already, and yet still lay out the whole wider mystery. And like, I'm sure for you all too, reading this, I was like, okay, this is going to get way more complicated than I think it's going to get, because they could wrap it up soon and be fine. She kills the monsters, maybe with the help of the townspeople, because some of them kind of know what's going on. The sheriff can't see them, but the fact that he doesn't discount it is amazing.
No, and that was amazing. Like, we haven't talked about the detectives. There's two of them. The one who's more in contact with the organization, and then his brother. And they're so funny. Like, there's this whole tragedy happening, and they're just getting drunk. Like, I can't deal with this shit. There's aliens, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I love the guys, like, you have the two cops drinking beers before they bring in all the families to see the dead bodies. And they get a little bit in trouble with that, but I was like, I get it. I don't know what I would do. And you have the sheriff that's like, talking to James, and he's like, tell me about the aliens. He's like, they're not. He's more likely to believe aliens than the monsters deal.
In the monsters, they talk about, like, he asked if they're vampires, I think, too.
I mean, that seems likely. I was impressed that he was even able to, like, be okay with that.
Here we go. Tell me about the aliens. Like, it's monsters.
I love this kid. I love this jaded, broken kid.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
And then meanwhile, you have Tommy, who was I think kind of like a bully athlete, and ever since his sister is one of the kids that dies, and then he starts becoming sort of like Stranger Things, he stops filling that stereotype and becoming more of a hero, and then the organization decides he has to die, and you're like, oh, suddenly I'm very sympathetic to this character that I totally hated in the first few issues.
Yeah, and this is very, like, if you're going to compare this to something out in media right now, I think Stranger Things is a good comparison.
And he starts getting the eyes and a little bit more gore there.
Yeah, man, poor guy. He just
Stranger Things 3.
Oh, you've got to. Well, just wait until the new season comes out, and then you can watch it all together.
I don't know, man. Stranger Things 3 is a big hump for me to go through. The first two episodes were sucktastic, in my opinion. So I got to push through and watch it. This reminds me that because everybody was saying this is the best one yet. And I'm like, really? Okay. Like the mom's going to go sleep with that lifeguard? What? And it's set in a mall, and that guy with the cool hair has to wear a hat and dips ice cream now? What the hell's going on here? So anyway, that's my own.
No, I love that. I think that's like.
I think that's more of a Maddie, Kristen, and me thing, where we see them like all living their lives, sort of getting used to, and we're like, oh, this is what I want. I want to watch him work.
Yeah,
with a girl that's definitely not interested.
Oh man, let me catch up on the chat a little bit. I like Arya's comment. If there was a sequel to this, would it be hold up, something else is killing the children? And then someone said it would be something is killing the middle-aged people.
Hey, take it easy.
Or something is still killing the children. So Chris brought up, I don't know how her name is pronounced, Beyond, I don't know, but the little girl they find in the cave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I am super interested in her, and I wouldn't be surprised if something gets more complicated with her as it goes, for a few reasons. One, she's so weird. And two, she's come from a really broken home. And when she was there, she talks about it very casually, almost like, oh yeah, like my friends are dead, and the babies will eat the dead ones. And she cares about the babies. And so I wouldn't be surprised she, I don't know, has a different role in this going forward related to the monsters.
You have a super chat.
I do. I was waiting until I got done.
Oh, sorry.
G, thank you. Thank you for a super chat. Maddie's old reader, new reader night. Yeah. It is forever now, Maddie's old reader, new reader night. So I hope that everyone will still come hang out with me and my wide variety of guests, because there's going to be a lot of different people. I'm already planning the next months. Jessica says, I love that Jess's criticism of Stranger Season 3 is just outrageous. Steve's hair being suppressed.
Well, yeah. His hair could have its own show.
And someone else had asked a question I didn't really have an answer for, which is, are there any Tinian works you dislike? The stuff I've read from his has been really good.
That's a good question, because something recent by him I didn't like. And I'm having to think of what it is now, but it was really recently something that I read right after Something is Killing the Children. And I'm trying to think of what it was. And because I was like, Tinian's so good. How did this happen?
Well, and I have his Wikipedia open because I don't remember what people write.
What's the last thing he has had?
Do you think it's a Boom thing or a DC thing that you read?
I think it's a Boom thing. I think it's independent. Or
okay.
As independent as Boom is.
When we were talking about Tom King, I said I wasn't a fan because I didn't have his Batman run, but I do have Tinians.
Oh, that's great.
I have not read.
I love Tinians.
That's a Batman. That's a Batwoman book. That's the best Batwoman that's been written in years.
And I wonder if this is the thing you read this.
Eugenic. Department of Truth. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a new one.
Very new. Yeah, it has
that's Image.
I read it on. It's Image. Mm-hmm. I've read singles of it, and it just hasn't grabbed me yet. I mean, I'll give it a chance to grab me because the premise is great, but so far, I would say that's the least impressed I've been with any of his stuff. And I love all his stuff so far.
It just goes to show that anyone can come out with a book that, is a stinker or that you wouldn't like.
Right. But the first trade isn't out. How many issues did you read?
I think I just read the first 2. I don't know that it's gone past 3 yet, really. If it has 3 issues. So that may not be enough to judge it by.
Yeah, Jessica said that she also wasn't a big fan. Department of Truth. Aria says, I've heard good things about his Wind, but that hasn't been hyped.
Oh, I have that book. I should read that next.
And Jane says, I mean, every author has bad books. I love Donny Cates, but crossover is not it, Chief.
Chief.
Yeah, it always happens. Like, there's times when Chris and I'll be like, oh, we love every one of this person's work. And then we'll read one and be like, ooh,
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the Junji Ito book for us. And I've been warned that Ever by Terry Moore might not be the one for me. Everyone said like, oh, I love all of Terry Moore but this book. So I haven't read it yet, but
I've heard that too.
Yeah, Kristen said it to me. She's like, I didn't like it, but I feel like it should go to you, the bigger Terry Moore fan, just in case. So I was like, okay. But yeah, I really like this book. I wonder how long this is going to go. Because I think this has a lot of potential to be a long-running series.
Well, based on all the subplots and all the branches that it has, if it explores everything thoroughly, I could see this thing going to volume 5 before it wraps up and still be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And since there are so many monsters, I don't know that they'll ever kill all the monsters. So it might be one of those things that we do see, more monsters are killing the children, part 1 or whatever the chat said.
Yeah, well, I could see, if things wrapped up in this town, I could see if Tinian wanted to, continuing the story, following Eritha and the rest of the Slaughter family. I did it. I have to literally see the name so I don't forget it. Finding these monsters elsewhere, this being a bigger picture thing. Because you could do stuff like this, you can always do a ton of stuff with, where it's like, oh, surprise, the Slaughters have been creating the monsters the whole time, or like the monsters were nice and we've made them bad. You can always do that kind of twist.
Well, that's thinking ahead. That's good. I never thought of that. I just took the book at face value. I like the fact that the Slaughters may have created the monsters. That's interesting.
I always try to guess ahead just in case. Because I love watching like whodunits or mysteries or reading those types of things. But the problem is I do it too much now that I'm like planning, like, what if it's this? Or what if it's this next? I have to guess it.
No, but there's two problems when I do it. It's either on the money, like with Steven Universe and Pink Diamond, or I get disappointed by the real thing. I'm like, oh, well, that's good, but in my head, it was better.
Oh, absolutely. There's a manga series that did that for me, which I really recommend to a lot of people, except for the ending. But the ending can really make or break a series that has a mystery in it. And Erased is that for me. It's a great manga series. It's a definite mystery. The ending was not. I think it wasn't good. and it bummed me out so bad. And there's bad movies that have a fantastic ending that make me love them forever. Like, I am forever a fan of the Saw movies because of the first one, because I never guessed the ending. And I was a younger age, so I didn't guess it. But like, still that sits with me. Like, I love being surprised. So I hope that I get surprised by this as well. So Jaden says that they think I would like the book I Hate Fairyland. I've never read it. Everyone talks about it.
Have you read Scotty Young's Oz?
I've never read any Scotty Young.
Oh, well, you should fix that. You should read Oz, I Hate Fairyland, then Middle West. That is the perfect order.
Middle West is one of my books of 2020 and 2019.
Okay.
Because you see his progress with the fairy topics. Like, he gets kind of saturated with Oz by the end of it, and he even admits it in the extras. And then so he decides, okay, my next project, the little girl is gonna kill all of Fairyland. And now it's a little bit more mature, but not in the slaughtering everybody way.
Okay.
Yeah, and I 100% back Middle West. That is 3 volumes that I bought in trade to make sure it came out in oversized hardcover for you guys. So
thank you.
You're welcome. Come out, buy the hardcover when it comes out, and you will not be disappointed. That has Corona on the art, which is great, and Scotty Young's the writer. It is brilliant.
Okay, well, maybe I'll add that to one of the old reader new readers for the year too. Because like this year, I was like, okay, one of my goals is to really, every year it's the same goal, which is really diversify my reading and read from something I haven't read before. which sometimes I do a great job of, and sometimes it's something like this that I probably read eventually, anyways. But I'm really trying to make sure, like, getting to different artists and writers that I haven't touched, or like different characters that I haven't read from, which would be a lot of Marvel, actually, a lot of Marvel. Yeah, a lot of people said they really love Middle West in the chat. Middle West, my favorite, Scotty Young. Scotty Young is dope. Middle West. Oh, Jaden, we have it, and I'm dying to read Invincible. I want to read it so bad. Have you guys read Invincible?
No.
I'm on a readathon with Gabe.
Okay.
That I'm on book. I just started book 3. I've never made it through the whole series because 12 books. I've made it through the first 3 books before, but I've of course forgotten them. So it's like the one Kirkman book that I actually like. I know that everybody says issues 1 through 50 of Walking Dead are brilliant, and then it tails off from there.
Oh, I forgot. Okay, I didn't realize that Kirkman did it, I guess.
Yeah, Kirkman did Invincible. I have a general.
He and I are from the same town.
Is that right?
There's a Walking Dead mural.
Oh.
Yeah, in my hometown.
It
feels very silly.
I have a kind of dislike for a lot of what he's written. But Invincible is the one thing I really like a lot that he's written. I think you'd dig it. It is, I mean, just through 3 volumes, it's full of amazing twists and turns and interesting characters. It's really well developed, and it's great. It's really good.
Okay. I'm going to check it out this year.
It's definitely a commitment. It's 12 volumes, and I'm lagging on my reading.
Well, I've read like 400 chapters of One Piece this month already, so it's fine. I can read it.
Oh, yeah, you're doing that with Kristen?
Yeah, and failing. We're failing.
Nah, I think you're doing pretty good. Like, you've already beat the 4Kids dub.
Yeah, it's still a triumph. You know, it's fine. And she still wants to continue reading One Piece, so it's a win. It's fine. I guess before we get more distracted by the chat, we should finish up talking about the book. Because I don't know that I have much more to add, except for that I really like this. I'm really excited to see where it goes. And I think, like a lot of other people, I hope that Boom releases a nice hardcover set of this. Something oversized.
We are, because I bought the trade. So
well, there you go. I bought one trade and I bought the other digitally so I could read it today.
But it's impossible to predict if Boom, like, either we'll get figure trades or a hardcover, maybe.
It's so popular with just like the general comic book reading public that I think that if Boom puts it out, you better buy it the first day, because Boom prints everything, and this, if it does get put in hardcover, it's going to disappear within a week, because not only is it popular, but Boom's going to underprint it.
And not just underprint it, but then when they go out of print, they don't do a second one, like our favorite Steven Universe.
Oh, I got that one.
Did not get a second volume. I'm so mad.
Yeah.
They came up with very thick hardcover.
The first world problems of a comic book collector, you know. That's rough. You know, or, you know, things get collected and they stop, or they restart it, but the spines don't match. You know, it's rough out here. Oh, thank you. Oh, I love when you show up for super chats. Tinian, but I don't like ghost makers. That's fair. I always love his little icon. His little.
What is the reference? Ghost makers?
Is that one of his books?
Oh, Ghost Makers? I haven't heard of that. That's a Tinian book?
I am not sure. You can tell me. Feel free to expand. I'll highlight it. Maddie, let go of my heart. I'll do my best. No problem.
Yeah, just flash your ring. That should let you.
Fan casting Abby Lee from Lovecraft Country would be perfect as Erica Slaughter. Which one is Did you guys watch Lovecraft Country? Because you
Yeah.
should.
I saw the first episode and forgot about it, but I loved it, and now I'll go back to it. It's on HBO. Oh,
Please.
Batman character Ghostmaker. Okay, I thought that
Oh,
was
got it. Thank you.
got it.
Sorry, now I have to look up who this one is. Oh, yeah. She's the blonde woman.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Yeah, I think she would be great. Okay, so Ghostmaker, interesting of Joker work. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Maddie put me on Saga. Now it's one of my favorite comics. I did. Oh, Saga's so good. That's like the comic for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before we get started more comments, more comments, we have old reader, new reader tradition. We do have to do a rating out of 10. It is required. You can do point something. I like this book. I have no problems with it. I would give it a 9 out of 10. What about you guys?
Well, I have one problem. They killed my favorite character. This is a variant of him by Christian Ward, and so it gets a 9. I'm sorry. Sorry, Tinian.
Omar, whenever I give something a 10 out of 10, says, it's not The Godfather. It's not The Godfather Part 2. It's not
Sometimes the book is just really good.
What's that?
It's okay. The book is, there's no problems with this book. A 10 out of 10 is fine.
I know. So I will also give it a 9 out of 10 just because it's not finished yet. Once it's finished and it nails the ending, then it's ready to be a 10 out of 10. But I withhold judgment until I see the ending.
I think that's good. So when it's finished, you guys will come back and talk about it with me, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good. All right, you heard it here, guys. 9 out of 10. What did you guys think in the chat? 9 out of 10, right next to Witches for my favorite horror comics.
Oh, Witches was really creepy, and I wish it would continue.
I think I'm the one person I know that didn't like Witches.
Are you not friends with them anymore? Because that's a sign you should stop being friends with them. Why?
No, I didn't like it.
Oh, you didn't like it?
No, I didn't like it.
Okay, I'm signing off. Bye.
No, Jess!
No, but it was like a 6 out of 10 for me too.
Oh, really?
10.
Okay.
I rarely buy singles, but this series is an exception. Chris is 9 out of 10, a 9.5 out of 10.
Wow.
9 out of 10, I'd make it 11 out of 10 they put out an OHC. Yeah, I understand. It's really a great read. And 9 out of 10 is def fair. I'm curious to see what the ending is going to be too. Yeah. I think, once you, put this on OHC, let it be finished. And I think I could see this really being, continuing to be amazing. Like, I think it's really going to depend on the ending.
Is it, for those who collect singles, what issue is it on out there in singles world? This takes it through 6 through 10. So out in singles world, where are we with it?
Come on, chat. I trust you.
I think
there's a lot of Witches haters in the chat. It's on issue 13. Okay.
Thank you, Chris Brogan. Yeah, I would type and look at my keyboard is so loud. People make fun of me.
Oh yeah, that's right. Even with your headset on and your mic way up there.
Well, I'm not using this mic. That's why.
Oh,
I'm using this one.
oh, fancy pink.
I know. But I have a new desk coming in next week. So I think I'm gonna get a hookup and then have it like this, like I'm a streamer on Twitch and be like, "Hello, everyone." But my pink mic, my pink desk, one of those girls.
Like my pink cast that I had on my arm.
Yeah, somebody said solicited up to 15, but no issues listed for March and April.
Oh.
Have a mic right on the keys. I might as well, because my keyboard's so loud and I like it when I'm playing stuff, but I'm aware that I can't secretly shop during the show or type out things in like the private chat. So
I always use my iPhone to shop when Omnibros or I'm with like Tyler or Taylor. I always go, what was that? Oh, okay. I go right to Amazon or eBay.
I think people don't get, because we get so many comments, right, on videos like this that are like, thanks guys for like emptying my wallet, you know. And I'm like, I understand where you are, but also understand where I am doing shows with all of you guys or talking to all you guys. And it's like, I'm always buying stuff during, like, because I don't have any impulse control. That's a diagnosed thing, so I'm not making it up.
Oh.
And so during the show, I'm like, oh, that sounds good. Okay, I'll buy it. Oh, I trust you. Okay, I'll buy it.
Yeah, when I hear you clicking on the keyboard, I start putting a lot of suggestions. I'm like, this is the moment.
Middle West, Black Magic.
Oh man, we're getting a volume. Are you guys excited?
Yeah.
What are we excited about?
The next Black Magic volume comes out soon.
Yeah, I know people want me to buy that and trade so they can get a hardcover for it quickly. Forget it. I'm waiting this time too.
No, I'm sure it's gonna get a second one.
Yeah. I'm not contributing to the cause. Rucka has to do that on his own.
I mean, I don't know when the industry is gonna like wake up and realize that Greg Rucka should have more collected editions of everything. Where's our Wonder Woman omnibus for Rucka?
That's a good question.
He deserves it.
Who knows?
It's so good. Maybe one day.
His own stuff like Lazarus in hardcover, but I think that Lazarus, some of them are out of print. Those hardcover.
Well, I guess we got Gotham Central, so that's like one thing.
That's a big bone for DC to throw us. Actually,
yeah,
you do something that good and that thick. That was amazing that DC even did that.
Oh, it's a good question. What are your top 3 horror comics?
Witches, Son of Witches, and Witches. No, okay. Horror comics.
Man, that's hard because there's so many good ones now. I think we're so lucky.
Yeah.
You know, because there's so many really good contenders. If I had to say what comes to mind right away, it would be Harrow County, Uzumaki, and immediately my heart wants to say Nailbiter, but I feel like there's a better contender. But if I like just happen to think off the top of my head, I really like those 3. Oh, wait. Okay. This is going to be really hard to say. These Savage Shores.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's interesting. I consider that more of a fantasy, but I can see the horror in it.
More like, you know, old school horror as far as like you think of like classic Dracula, Frankenstein, you know, those kind of like classic cinema.
Yeah.
Like that's how I relate it.
I can't say Gideon Falls yet because it hasn't finished. So far, it's extremely creepy and horrifying.
Okay.
But that's another book that I'm going to withhold judgment on till it ends. But so far,
pretend I'm not.
So far, it's extremely scary.
I want to read it. I love scary books. What about you, Freddie?
I'm pulling up my Instagram because I put lists of everything I read like monthly, and I just realized, oh, my this October wasn't that or last year's October wasn't really that scary. Let's see. So Harrow County. I am blanking out. I will circle back.
Dennis said Lock and Key, which is surprising.
Lock and Key is good.
Jessica, I think Saga of Swamp Thing counts.
I
think you can even count something like Animal Man, like Lemire's Animal Man, because that's like body horror.
Yeah. Oh, so Immortal Hulk then?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Sure, count it.
I will say Infidel, but Aria recommended. Infidel stayed with me a long time. Harrow County second, and Pym and Francie.
I've never heard of that.
Pym and Francie is a haunted book, and I'm scared to even have it in my house. I'll go get it right now and show you what I'm talking about.
Ooh. Okay. I definitely want to see that now.
This used to be way out of print, and then they printed more from Fantagraphics, I think. It's by Al Columbia, and it looks like a fun little kid's book.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not what I was expecting.
It is, I know. It is so twisted, and he doesn't really finish comics a lot. He's got this is more of a collection of several ideas. There's some 2 and 3 page stories, but it's a lot of ideas, but it's super twisted. Everything looks really sweet on the outside, and then you keep looking, and it's so demented and twisted that I can't. I mean, I hate having. I don't even like having it in my house, but it's so awesome.
Oh man.
It's Al Columbia is like a mystery man. I don't think he gives many interviews. He doesn't appear in public, and his stuff is hard to find. But it's so twisted and obscure. He's got another thing that I can grab my hands on. Pim and Francie are these 2 kids, and it's full of just knives and horror and weird stuff. And let me see if I can find.
I'm already sold. If you like, it looks cute, but it's terrifying.
It's really.
But you didn't mention Beautiful Darkness.
There's a good reason for that. I hated that book.
Yeah, and Chris Brogan said monstrous, which I don't really think of it as horror, but yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
Monstrous is great.
Ooh, this looks. Oh man, I'm gonna pick that up, Jess.
Yeah, it's by Fantagraphics. I think it's still in print. It was out of print for a long time, but if you look up Al Columbia, I have.
Well, I can. It looked like it's pretty accessible on Comixology, so at the very least.
He also his most recent thing was like a magazine-sized thing. It's also very twisted, and I'm blanking on the name of it now. But it came out 2019.
Okay.
And it's also twisted.
Ooh, I'm excited. I want to read it. That was a good question. Something will mention, Hell Yeah, Immortal Hulk, God Killers, Monster by Urasawa, which I think counts. It's more of a thriller, but it's still very scary. Everyone should read Monster. Sky says, couldn't agree more on spending. Started following the Near Mint Condition Clan a year ago. I spent so much on Omnis, but couldn't be happier. Yeah. I've mentioned this before, but like I started getting into this, because I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and I really liked Wonder Woman. And I like all of the movies, but those 2 in particular, I was like, I need to know more about everything. And I was like, hey, Omar, can you help a girl out? I just want to read some more stuff. And he's like, here's a tablet loaded with comic books. Read them. And I was like, okay. And I read I'm not even sure what I read first, but Rucka's Wonder Woman and some Rebirth Wonder Woman. And I read Marvel Cosmic Saga. And next thing I know, I'm on 2 different channels and I have so many comic books. It's a problem. It's a problem.
It's a happy problem.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it.
No, my friend gave me the first Peanuts box set, and that just hurt me so much because now I know I had to get all of them. I was like, I hate you.
Right?
Like this was not on the approved list of things to get me.
Yeah, because it's a spiral. Once you have one, it's all of them. And
and it's 50 years worth of comic strips.
Oh yeah.
That's how I feel about One Piece volumes, because I love One Piece, but I've never intended to buy them all because there's not an easy way to do that. But I have a few random volumes, and they're just mocking me.
Well, there's the box sets, but they're hella expensive.
Yeah.
This is the other Al Columbia thing, and it doesn't have a name. Oh wait, Amnesia: The Lost Films of Francis D. Longfellow, which is somebody he made up. And I mean, if you look at this picture, It
I'm
should haunt your dreams.
curious about this dude because the way you sold it to me already is like, hey, there's these weird comics. But also the guy is pretty mysterious. He doesn't really do interviews. I'm like, done. What else does he do?
Yeah, he does have stuff in the MOME, the Mom series, like little things in those. But I better not show that one.
That's what you know.
I can show this. Oh no.
Oh, Jaden says, Omnidog, stop. I need to buy groceries, man. I can't be buying them.
Oh, this one's twisted. Oh no, I don't think I should show anymore. This is it's very twisted. It's really cool, and I don't like saying that because that shows the dark side of me.
I love horror. Like, I love scary video games. I love scary movies. Like, I'm a huge Silent Hill fan.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't write much fan fiction as a young adult, but I did write self-insert Silent Hill fan fiction. If that doesn't say something about young Maddie, I don't know what does.
Young Maddie.
It's on the internet. You can find it somewhere. I will not link it to anybody. But if you find it, I don't know. Kudos to you, I guess. The thing that I wrote when I was 14. Jessica says, now hoping this man I have never even heard of writes a haunted graphic memoir about his hermit life.
He doesn't seem to be able to put together. This is like the longest thing that he's put together, and this is maybe 18 pages. And Pim and Francie's a bunch of unfinished stuff. So I don't know how much he's actually done long form. Most of what I've seen of his stuff is him getting started on something and then moving on to something and then moving on to something else. And I don't know that, as much as I'd love to see him do a big biography of something, I haven't seen anything that shows me he wants to do that.
Maybe it'll be like Next of Kin, after he dies. We'll put it together, all these like incomplete works and like.
Oh yeah, they'll go up to his attic and just find all these pages scattered.
It'll be a Knives Out situation. He dies. How'd he die?
Something came alive from one of his books. I can't read the centerfold, but it's awesome.
You can show us after the show.
Yeah, I'll show you after the show.
So Carly asked for some horror movie recommendations. That's a big question because there's a lot. I'll say that my favorite comfort horror movie is Tale of Two Sisters. It's a Korean movie. It's about this family and it's really eerie. It's a single father and it's two girls. He remarries, but something's off about it. And then the soundtrack is beautiful. And I used to kind of just like relax to it because it's just really, it's creepy, but it's just a very relaxing soundtrack. So I think that's my
Tale of Two Sisters.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
But I love so many horror movies, like so many. Cabin in the Woods would also be a big favorite I think anybody could watch because that's like a self-aware.
Yeah, it's a deconstruction.
Yeah. What about you guys? Do you partake?
Not as much, but I've enjoyed Get Out and Us. Really loved Us. Lovecraft Country. So I think I may be into racist horror movies.
They're good.
They're really good.
I had a show on my channel for about 1.5 years with a woman named Jenny, and we reviewed horror movies. So I got exposed to a lot of horror movies. That's her hobby, is watching horror movies. So my favorite out of all those that has still stuck with me has been The Blackcoat's Daughter.
Oh, I like that one a lot.
That one stuck with me a long time. And then The Blackcoat's Daughter for pure horror, but the one movie that I watched was one of the last ones we reviewed. It's called Don't Breathe. And I watched it on my laptop, and I was shaking for 2 hours after it. I mean, it is so suspenseful that I literally was shaking. When it says don't breathe, it's like you can't breathe. It is super suspenseful and really freaky. And then the girl goes on to make Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist.
Yeah.
Oh,
Show. But she's the lead in Don't Breathe, and she does an amazing acting job in it, and it's really scary and unbelievable.
well,
Well, I'm gonna watch that.
At Zoe's playlist.
Well, I love her.
Yeah,
She's great.
if you watch Don't Breathe, it affected me like no other movie has affected me. I mean, I was shaking.
I might watch it like tomorrow.
Yeah.
I love scary movies.
Oh,
We had some good comments in the chat.
Conjuring.
Somebody said Scream. I love the Scream movies. The Witch, Ringu.
Yeah.
Polly Shore is dead.
Isn't that a wish of somebody's?
Probably.
La
The
Llorona.
Conjuring.
Conjuring's the first
Oh,
two. I saw the first two.
Love The Conjuring. As a woman who was raised Catholic, any movie that has some hauntings or some demons and possession, done.
I love demons and the occult. I love
Yeah.
those movies.
Because I can never quite discount that they're real or not because of my upbringing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I mean, that's probably not real, but I don't know. Like, I have my rosary ready just in case.
Your rosary. That's awesome.
I'm with you for a different reason, Maddie. I grew up watching those weird shows where they're like following ghost stories and they recreate a lot of scenes. And wow, that's
That's
scarier
right.
than most movies I've seen.
I know.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm always afraid it's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
People make fun of me for this, but the first Paranormal Activity I watched by myself in the middle of the day while my wife was at work, and it flipped me out so much. My wife was in Baltimore working. I called her and said, "You have to come home early."
That's adorable.
I was on the couch. I was
I love
freaked
that.
out. And people make fun of me. They're like, "That movie's not scary."
It is
It was
scary.
scary to me.
They can get over it. I was scared.
Oh, it has that when that Ouija board scene happened. Oh, Ouija boards, first of all, freaked me out. And that's one reason
yeah.
why.
I don't mess with that shit.
No.
Again, Catholic upbringing, just in case.
I
Just in
believe
case it's real.
absolutely. I'm with you.
My friends are always like, let's go to the sanatorium, Waverly Hills. I'm like, no.
What is that?
There's a sanatorium here in Kentucky, and it was like a tuberculosis hospital at one time, I think. And like so many people died there. So it's like wicked haunted, or so they say. And like you can go there. You can stay overnight. You can pay for like a tour or whatever. And people do it all the time. And I'm like, no. I'm not taking any chances here. Okay? No. What if one follows me back home? And Jessica, do not go. I'm not going, Jessica. Jessica, you and I can go to like Weenie Hut. Let's go somewhere easy and safe, like the comic book store and then home.
Someone mentioned the Blair Witch Project. That reminds me of Troll Hunter, which is a horror comedy, a Norwegian horror comedy. And as you can tell, I really love horror comedies. Like What We Do in the Shadows is brilliant.
Oh, Lou keeps recommending that to me. I gotta watch that.
The movie and the show, Jess, they're both
Yeah,
brilliant.
I've got one for you both. So we were looking online on Netflix one day. We're like, let's just watch a crappy horror movie. And we found this one, and like the picture was of this man dressed as Jesus, but spray painted gold. And we're like, okay, he's like holding like a machine gun. And we're like, okay, this looks dumb. Let's watch it. And it's a Spanish film. And it's called Witchin' and Bitchin'. So we're like, okay, this is going to be a bad movie. Wrong. It's very good. It's funny, but it's still a very good horror film. The narrative is really good. It goes in a direction that you'll never expect. I really enjoyed it, and it's one I keep recommending to people
Which
because I was so surprised.
Okay, I'm putting it down.
Yeah. Las Brujas de Sugarramurdi.
Witchin.
Check it out. I hope other people think it's funny and like it. I've liked it the 2 times I've seen it, so hopefully it still stands up.
It's got a very serious Spanish title, which I just read, and then, witching and bitching.
Gotta love English translations for things for no reason.
What's the Spanish title?
Las Brujas de Sugarramurdi, the Witches of Sugarramurdi.
Okay. That kind of gives it away. So I can see why they didn't call it that.
I have no idea what's going on, so I should be okay watching it.
Okay, so we already ran over time, which is easy to do when talking to these two. And I wish there wasn't a pandemic so we could all just hang out in person and hang out for like a whole weekend.
Yeah.
Because I know we'd have such a good time. But yeah, so let me go ahead and wrap it up. But first of all, thank you both for hanging out with me and doing the show. I will absolutely be calling upon you again. So hopefully you'll come hang out with me again. So next week, for everybody at home, my friend Phil is coming on here, and we're reading a Green Arrow book, but I don't remember which one it is. And if you give me a second while I look at my messages, which is, not exactly professional of me to do, I will tell you which Green Arrow it is. Oh gosh, where is it? This is embarrassing.
Green Arrow Year One by Andy Diggle.
Oh no. Oh, Archer's Quest. I don't know, but we're reading Green Arrow Archer's Quest. He recommended it to me because there's some Roy Harper in it, so he's read it. I haven't. So that's next week. But there's a huge variety of people that'll be on next week or next month. I'll be posting a schedule soon. Thank you all for watching this and hanging out in the chat. If you catch us later, comment down below what you thought about Something is Killing the Children. And if you have any recommendations, I guess, for horror comics or movies, feel free to put those in the chat too, or in the comments. I'd love to hear it. I hope you like this video. Subscribe for future videos. Join our Patreon, through which you can vote for Picks of the Month like this one. And
join me on Omnidog's Vault on YouTube.
Thank you, Jess.
And his 18 different shows.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely, because honestly, like and I promise I'm not like kissing up to you or whatever, but I really do enjoy your videos. I always love hanging out with you because I really like your opinions and you're so chill.
Oh,
so
really?
I like watching your stuff.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's relaxing, and I like the way you talk about stuff. And I like when you and I get to hang out together.
It's fun. It is fun. I appreciate it.
And we have to schedule a video with your daughter too, because we need to review Horizon Zero Dawn.
Right here. I'm just waiting. He's just waiting.
We'll just pick a day. All right. I guess we'll go inside. Thank you guys, and I will see you next week. Stay